Alright guys, I am in the Shenandoah National Park. It's pretty fucking beautiful. Sorry for the awkward video, I'm on a cliff. This is kind of my peace of mind on tour. I go find mountains and stuff when things get a little hectic and clear my head. But anyways, this video I'm going to read you a passage from my book, Heavy Metal Meditation. Leading up to this passage, I was volunteering at a girls' home in Arequipa, Peru. I was there for a winter. Amongst other things, I was working at a bar and a couple other stuff. But anyways, this is the entry. This chapter is called "This Ain't No Concrete Jungle." The girls of the home had granted me peace of mind. 40 girls, smiling most of the time, because of one meal a day and a safe place to sleep. They made me feel privileged, something I have never felt before. I left Casa Hogar behind with courage and all the self-doubt wrapped up in a spindle, ready to be set free. I set out for Machu Picchu. I carried the weight of the world on my back, trekking out to Cusco, Peru, a city that sits on top of the world, literally. It sits 11,000 feet above sea level in elevation. I had spent so much time reminiscing of my spent energy on self-destructive friends and lovers in my time in Peru, reflecting upon the past and ready to leave it behind. I spent my energy and pure passion for my love of people and the girls. I was ready to spend it on myself. After Cusco, I took a bus to Hidroelectrica. I then hiked my way to Machu Picchu. There it was thick but clear. I followed the train tracks right in the knuckle of the jungle, cradling a heavy heart that was ready to be drained of its woes at the top of the mountain. Flocks of butterflies danced around me in the air. Wild guinea pigs scurried around my feet, jumping in between the banana trees. My heart leapt in excitement with every step I took. It sunk to the bottom of my feet when I got to the stairs. This is when I realized how real it was, where I was, and what I was doing emotionally on this trek. My hiking partner and I stood in line. It was about 5 a.m. when the gates opened. We made our way into the ancient Inca Empire. I could feel my breath escape from my distilled body when I reached the classic view you see in all the history books and on the postcards. Clouds floated around the empire, creating the feeling that I was in the city that resided in the earth's sky. Even though there were tons of people there, it was silent. I felt as if the silence was in respect to the land's past. It felt like the gods had a request of quiet air upon arrival. I found a wall that sat atop the towering mountain. I sat in lotus position, meditated upon pondering thoughts, and wrote this. January 31st, 2015. They call Machu Picchu the lost city of the Incas. If it were up to me, I would call it the city of the clouds. I never experienced anything quite so mystical. I walked the train tracks through the knuckle of the jungle. I felt as if I were living the childhood tale of Ferngully. The Rio led the path along the tracks all the way to Aguas Calientes. Flocks of butterflies danced around my trail, wild guinea pigs hiding behind fields of banana trees and corn. Huts along the way greeted travelers with high-priced supplies, but it was a bargain of a deal if you knew the right thing to say. When I arrived at the entry of the Inca ruins, I was welcomed by 4 ancient huts that had been perfectly preserved. I made my way to the Inca bridge that wrapped itself by the mystical mountain. From the highest point of the mountain, I watched the clouds roll in and hide the history that laid beneath my feet. I'm curious of what the next chapter of my life has in store for me. The more I travel, the more wonders of the world I want to see. I do not establish satisfaction. In turn, I grow more hunger. Is this hunger never ending? Will I ever find whatever it is I am looking for? Will I ever know what I'm looking for? Whether I do or not, it sure is a hell of a beautiful journey, isn't it? Every chapter I learn something new. What have I learned here in Peru? I've learned there are good people that do good things without money as a factor. I have learned that I am no longer immortal. Time does exist, and so does death. And I'm afraid of both. When I look at the stars' constellations and I see the Big Dipper, I think of the Underground Railroad racing for freedom, rather than the beauty of their shine. When I look at the stars, I imagine them falling out of the sky, hitting the earth's ground, setting the world on fire, rather than acknowledge the beauty they entail, or how they shine light on the trees that tower above me. Instead of pondering the thought that the tree's niche is to provide me the air I need to breathe, I hold all of humanity's guilt in my gut, understanding that we are destroying the very thing that keeps us alive. Some have told me this anxiety I portray the world in is what makes me a writer. I say it's what makes me condemned to my own manifested damnation. As the last letter was drawn in permanent ink on that worn piece of paper, I let go of the breath I was holding while writing that entry. And with that breath, I let go of all my demons. I said goodbye. Just a few miles, a few pair of boots, a couple of drinks, a few lovers, a few hangovers, and a few notebooks, and a whole lot of pens. I found myself. In fact, I found myself on top of the world's most beautiful mountain, ready to conquer, ready to find another adventure, ready to be set free from the demons that had me by ball and chain. And I promised myself, never again. This is my heavy metal meditation. So quiet here. I'll give you a view. You can get my book at sambones.com. Do all that advertising crap.